Hello and welcome to the FOKLZ podcast. I'm Forda, and obviously with me I have Reece and FOKLZ. We're just having a little laugh because I just told Reece that he needed to introduce the pod, and his reaction was pure panic. Pure panic. Apart from the panic of this, how are you feeling about the week in general? Let's not talk about the football for a sec. Just general week. Have you been panicked? Have you been calm? You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm calm. It's been way too hot. It's way too hot right now. It's like nearly 20 degrees, and it's like late at night. It should not be this hot. And it's just tiring. It's the tiring with the weather. But honestly, it just doesn't make you feel. It's like I don't feel as emotional about things because I'm just tired. So maybe that's a good thing.
Mate, that might be the most middle-aged man from Britain answer. It's too hot. It's too hot. Don't say it's too hot because the weather's going to be gone.
Too hot.
The weather's going to be gone.
Hot.
We've got a couple of days of this for the year, and that'll be it. We'll be back to wearing jackets and hoodies and stuff. It's I do know what you mean though. I get tired, but then I am about 50, so I get tired quite quickly.
I hate hot weather generally. I'm a rain guy. Just give me the rain. Let's just say this.
Rain guy. I don't mind hot weather with rain. Like going to a hot country like Florida, and it's been really hot. Rain comes down. It's quite refreshing. Like, oh yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, not like a general rain guy. I think that's a bit morbid and blue, mate. We will go into the game though. Come on then. General thoughts about the game. Just sum up. All right. I want you to sum up the first 10 minutes and then the final 10 minutes, like how you felt at those parts of the game.
Yeah, no, that was stressful. I mean, the first 10 minutes was they scored so early on that it's like, obviously we'll speak about everything, but everything just felt so flat, and it just feels like you've had all that preparation to that game. We've all been talking about it, all the hype, and then it's just like brick wall straight away. I feel like if that goal came at any other period of the game, it probably would have felt at least a little bit easier. But that was just so damning, and it was horrible. And then at the end of the game, it's like the opposite. It's like we've had all our chances, we haven't taken them, and then we're just hoping they don't score again and put the tie to bed. So it's just it was stressful. Probably one of the most stressful experiences watching an Arsenal game, especially in a while.
Yeah, and I felt so positive prior to that game. I felt like, yes, we're going to control that game. We're going to go in. We've had a couple of mistakes at the back from Saliba, but I've every confidence in him not making a mistake early on, and we'll be fine. We'll keep it nice and tight to begin with, and lo and behold, that just goes right out the window. I mean, I said to you before we came on, didn't I, that I haven't really watched anything. I've tried to keep us. I mean, that game itself. So I had my baby son with me at the time, so I couldn't really react loudly or anything. I couldn't do anything. I'm trying to get him to sleep at the time, and within 3 minutes, I'm like, I don't know how to react. I don't know what to do, and it was just, I don't know. It's just so deflating. So I've watched a little bit of Alex and Rohan talking just now, but I just imagine a lot of the kind of discussions around this game are going to be relatively negative, and that Arsenal were. Is it revisionary kind of, we lost the game, so it's all terrible. I'm not going to say it was an amazing game. I'm not going to be ultra or uber positive about it, but hopefully bring a bit of balance, because I think having a day of just chilling and not talking football, not watching football, has made me kind of reevaluate it. And I watched some of the game. I haven't watched it all the way back through. I couldn't bring myself to do that. But I feel a little bit more kind of balanced and relaxed about the whole kind of saga. Is that the right word? The whole saga. The PSG saga. Right, should we go into it? Let's get the slides up. We all love the slides, don't we? All right. First one I titled "Not a Fun Night," because let's be honest, it wasn't the most fun. Do you think? Right, just a quick question. Do you think it was actually a good match from a neutral standpoint?
I don't know. It's one of the weird ones because there was some quite key chances for both teams throughout the game. I mean, mostly in them periods. And there was some interesting things, I think, from a nerdy perspective of like the pressing and how the teams worked. It's obviously going to be compared to the other semi-final, which like it's very hard to like have it up to the same standards,
Yeah.
especially because like just attack and football wins at the end of the day, and we don't attack that much. Like we do, but like we're not an attacking orientated team. I just didn't find the game very fun, but obviously that's an Arsenal perspective. But I don't know. It's a game we've seen Arsenal do a lot, I feel like.
Yeah, it was like a game of like moments and small margins. I think like I'll bring up the stats again. So just looking at the stats, they are so close the whole way through on this. I had kind of looked at them a little bit more in depth, which I'll do in a minute. But yeah, I felt it was for me anyway. It was just ten to hooks the whole time, like edge of your seat, just because it was. I'm so invested, and I thought after like, was it a good game? I mean, there were moments, and I think some of the football on display was really good, but as a spectacle, maybe not. I mean, it started off for me like so disappointing. That tifo, I think, almost like sums up that game. You know, you got high hopes. You're thinking, yes, it's going to be a big semi-final. It's one of the biggest games at the Emirates for a long, long time. And then this tifo comes out, and you go, like, essentially, you've got a big flag. There's nothing on it. There's no. I was so disappointed, and then it started falling. And I thought, it was almost like a metaphor for how our performance was going to go. Yeah, it's just a really weird affair. I just found it a really bizarre evening. The Real Madrid thing, like, it wasn't always easy, and I didn't feel comfortable throughout it, but at least it like lived up to what it should be. Even if we lost, I feel like that as a spectacle in itself, it was like quite a big thing. But this one just felt, I don't know, flat. Not right. It just didn't feel right to me. But let's kind of have a look at the stats a bit more in detail, because as I started going through it with a bit more of a level head, I realised actually we controlled certain areas. Like we came out better in certain areas. And I mean, you could argue PSG were 1-0 up. They knew they didn't have to kind of be expansive, which they were at times, all things considered. But if you look, I've essentially circled the things that PSG came out on top of. Shots by 1, so relatively fair. Open play shots, I mean, 8-5, so you could argue in terms of like the chances created, they had some better. But when you really go in depth, zone 14 touches were winning, deep touches were winning, expected threat, final third entries. I mean, look at the final third entries, 20 more than PSG. I think when you start to dissect it in that manner, it looks a little bit different. The same with on the right hand side, I put the field tilt and show an attacking threat. So that's from Opta. And I think that shows you a little bit more that it wasn't this like pure dominance from PSG, and that kind of opening section and then that end section. And the reason I wanted you to talk about them was because I think that's going to be the narrative in the media. The fact that, you know, Barcola had this chance, and you know, at the beginning, Ousmane Dembele gets the goal, and Arsenal don't know how to deal with him, and they're an absolute shambles. And they weren't, you know, we weren't great. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We were pretty awful in that opening 25 minutes. But that's not the story of the entire game. It's really not. Did you like notice anything in the stats that you went, oh, actually, that's not quite what I expected, or kind of is that not kind of part of our model of our game?
Yeah, I just think, I mean, they actually, I didn't really want us to give up most of the possession, but I understood why we would probably have to. Obviously, 52% is basically even, and it's a lot more even than it was when we played them in the Emirates, where they had a lot more before. I just felt that, like, in the game, I mean, we had 5 shots on target from 10 shots. that is now, again, we are getting good amount of shots on target from the shots we're having because we're only really shooting in like key areas. A lot of these shots that we have, you'll see are around like a 0.2 XG, at least at a minimum. Obviously, you're going to get the odd one where it's just like skied way over the bar, 0.01 miles away. But that doesn't happen with Arsenal very often. Obviously, that can be seen as a negative thing. We don't shoot often enough. But I also think we are at least getting into good areas now to shoot because there's been games this season where we've had 28 shots and 3 on target, and we've been very critical of the fact that we are just not being good enough at getting them shots towards the goal. And I do think in this game we did a good job at that. I mean, some of the shots I think are absolutely great and they're great saves, and some are just awful. But I think from that sort of level, if we can continue that sort of at least shots on target compared to shots ratio, I think we're going to have a chance, especially with the big chances that we created. I also think with the expected goals, I expected it to maybe be probably quite low. Like I probably expected a bit of a cagey game compared to the other semi-final. But I mean, we did get more expected goals in them, and we just didn't take our chances again. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have a little look at the stats actually from the opening 25 because this is from Canon Stats. So Scott Willis, I'll give him a little shout out. Essentially, he broke the game up into 3 periods. So he did the opening 25, then the end 25, and then the rest, the kind of middle portion of the game. And it was so interesting to look at it from that standpoint because, I mean, this really shows the difference. 72% possession they had in that opening 25, 4 shots to our 1. The goal, bearing in mind that obviously they scored, expected goal 0.2. The passage of play was really interesting. I thought, we might as well go into the goal because it was, almost instant. The pass that comes out from Nuno Mendes was an incredible pass. It was a wonderful pass. But I just felt that we just kind of made every mistake we possibly could in the lead up to that goal. And even the shot itself was like almost scuffed. It wasn't like the cleanest shot I've ever seen. Goes in off the post as well. So does it really count? I don't know. That's a debate for another time. It was so frustrating because I don't mind us being cut open and it being a fantastic goal. But for me, the build up, which is shown on the right hand side of the pitch for PSG there, it wasn't really incisive. It was that one ball that went through, and then Dembele kind of cheating over to the left, and Kvicha going over there as well. And it just felt to me, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but with Partey being absent, Rice kind of was defending the wide areas at times. Marino wasn't covering the spaces, and it just felt that the midfield itself was disjointed. They didn't really know where they should be at certain points. But I'm sure you'll probably go into better detail than I can, mate.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think what you said is like quite right. To be fair, I think we really struggled, especially early on, because they did things I think we may have not expected, or they came quite prepared. I mean, just little things of like, I mean, they were bringing their players in to come like closer towards the centre backs, so the centre backs couldn't push out, and then they were also dragging Timber with them a lot, so then the wingers could get in, and that's like one of the reasons they scored. They had a lot of chance in the first half where Creature was just getting all that space. Martinelli at this point is pressing high, so he can't like recover in time and can't get there. And it is his man. I know there's been some debate about like should he be coming back and helping. Like the thing is, the gaps are massive. And obviously, we should do a better job at probably like stopping the original pass going through. But he needs to be helping Timber at any point anyway. And I think we struggle with that at the start. And it's just like, I feel like our centre backs, there's going to be a lot of discussion about the centre backs all game because I've seen a lot of analysis about how they didn't go and push up against Dembele a lot of the time. So Dembele could bring it into midfield, turn and take it with him, which is something that everyone should have known because that's like what was going to happen before the game. And the same thing happened against Liverpool, where Liverpool's defence didn't push out and they got completely crushed because Dembele was finding them gaps. I say crushed in certain games. I mean, even the one at Anfield, they scored from it, but then not a lot really created because Liverpool adapted to that. I think we had problems because Kivior and Saliba couldn't jump because we always had these players like running inside towards them. A lot of the movements that you would see from people like deeper midfielders coming up, or even some of the wingers sometimes, would kind of be to facilitate Dembele picking that ball up deeper, and then they would go down the wing when he like carries that forward a little bit. So I do think it was actually very intelligent from PSG at the start. At the end of the day, like there is things that we should have done better. There's things that we should have come back and done, but I'm more to give the credit to them because I think Luis Enrique did a great job. And then we started switching things, obviously, and then we got more control on the ball after the first 25 minutes. And we were much better. But yeah, I mean, you can see the 72% possession is the most damning stat here because we just like both teams are the best when they're on the ball, and when they're having that much possession, we just are going to struggle at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, final third entries, like 9 final third entries there, and then 4 of their zone 14 touches as well. I mean, if I go back, so bearing in mind that was 4 in the first 25 minutes, they then ended up with 7 the entire game. So it just shows that first 25 minutes, and credit to them, like you say, credit to them, because it was a fantastic game plan for them. However, we did adapt, and for me, after having some time away from that game and not really absorbing everything, it's allowed me to think, well, actually, we have adapted. We finished that game 1-0. There's every possibility that we can go to Paris and we can get something. I think we're going to have to perform, better, and we're going to have to make sure that certain things like leaving spaces in those wide areas for their wingers is, I mean, imperative, because it was killing us at times. But on the whole, I think, that 25 minutes is almost going to get blown out of proportion. It really is. It was fantastic for them, but we did come back for it. Kind of on the wingers, because we've touched on it there. For me, it did show the difference in the building of our squads. When they've got players like Kvaratskhelia, they've got Desiree Doué, Barcola, who came on. These are players that they're very good at carrying, and they're very good at, dribbling in tight spaces, which is something we don't quite have in our team. But Kaio Saka's, he has got good close control, but he's a very different type of player. Kind of plays with intelligence rather than, trying to beat man one-on-one and doing it that way. We really lack that kind of player that makes you think, oh, something could happen. Because I felt that with both wingers, to be honest. Even Dembele, he was willing to pull deep. He was willing to go out into the wide spaces. We just lack something, and I don't know what that is. Like that, almost like that maverick. Is it like a really big missed opportunity that in January we haven't just pulled someone in? Because it's almost, for me as well, it made me, as I was watching it, think, God, I wish we had like a Semenyo right now. Because I've been much, an advocate of like Nico Williams. I think he'd be fantastic as a touchline winger. And, I just think, I was looking at going, Semenyo, he's willing to pull the trigger. And sometimes we don't have that. And in those moments, that's what PSG had. They had players willing to take chances and have risks. And it was causing us big problems. I haven't seen Timber struggle that much. That opening 25 minutes is probably worse than if you got all of the other worse moments he's had this season put together in 25 minutes. It wouldn't come close to that PSG 25 minutes. Yeah, we missing kind of like that X factor still, or can we kind of negate that anyway because of the squad building and the tactics that Arteta sets us up with?
Yeah. I mean, can you hear me? I've been disconnected, so I've been disconnected for a while. Yeah, I do think. I mean, in my opinion, it's the biggest thing that we need to really look at is Bayern. Like they called it an X factor when we lost to Bayern, but just someone that like is self-sustainable. Because I'm so sick of seeing Saka get like 1v7, and then it's like, well, that's our outstanding forward, and he's just like getting no help.
Oh,
You can't rely on it.
Oh, you're back, mate. You're back.
But yeah, like I just think, yeah, I mean, I think we need more. I don't think it's necessarily a mistake not to do it in January. I've kind of had some revision since then, and I've kind of felt that I've heard that we didn't have necessarily the amount of money that we wanted to. Maybe we only had around 40 to 50 mil, and that the club. I've also like done a lot of research, and I've seen a lot of people say that it shows better leadership to stick with a plan rather than.
Oh, we lost you. Sorry, yep. So
And
yeah, sorry,
yeah.
Reece, you just cut out then. So you were saying it's better, kind of takes leadership to stick with a plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Rather than just doing what like the fans want and like negating to them like United do all the time. Which I do see. I do so much.
Yeah, I think long term, I mean, there is a short termism in football, definitely. Like football fans as well, have definitely got shorter attention spans, and in terms of you just look at Arsene Wenger. Everyone's stuck by him for a very long, long time. As soon as he kind of left, people have been very quick to jump on things. So Emery, to be fair to him, I don't think he was the right choice. Maybe in the short term, ironically, he was, because he's someone who had good experience, could steady the ship for that short term until we got something that we actually needed. And he didn't get the players that he actually wanted. I think he wanted did he want Nzonzi, he wanted Zaha, he wanted certain types of players. But so to be fair to him, it wasn't easy. But fans themselves are very much like, get him out. Like we see Arteta out every couple of weeks. It's madness. But I think, yeah, you're right. As a leader and as a club, there has to be a real clear plan. And if we can't get the player that we want, or maybe the player underneath that, so for example, like a Mudryk, and then go for a Trossard, you just leave it and then you go on. I think Raheem Sterling might be the perfect example of that. We got him in because it was like, oh, we can't actually get what we want and we can't really do anything. I think it was even Edu himself said, yeah, we didn't actually want him, and then we saw the deal, we just took it. So look how that's worked out. It's pretty much like the worst transfer I have seen in the last decade for someone who comes with high praise, and he's had all these different accolades and trophies he's won. It's been dreadful. There's no two ways about it. He has been awful. So yeah, I think it's something that definitely this summer we've really got to look at, like not just someone who fits the profile, but someone who can just do that, have that bit of magic. And that, for me, there's not many players out there now. Like it sounds, maybe this is my middle-aged British moment here. Players aren't as good as they used to be. No, there's no Matt Letizier's anymore. So, but there's not. I feel like it's a dying art. And Yamal is like, he's showing right now you need it, and it is worth having and putting that faith in these players and allowing them to kind of express themselves and not just putting them in this box the whole time and telling them what to do. But I guess I'm getting off track a little bit, but yeah, that first 25, I just felt envious. That's what it is. Just envious. Like, give me a player like that, someone who's going to take it on and try to make something happen. And I guess for our wingers, let's kind of look up the team. So we had Martinelli and Saka, unsurprisingly, as our wingers. I was looking at it that Martinelli should be cheating centrally more often and getting closer into those channels. Saka just never seemed to get on the ball. It was bonkers. And when he did, like you say, we end up, 7-on-1. It was just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the problems are there. Like, I think genuinely just having a team that has one outstanding forward and the rest of the forwards are not really self-sustainable is just a massive problem. Like, Saka just can't do anything. He's so stretched out wide, which is fine for him to be there, but not when there's so many players on him. He's getting no help. Timber in these sort of games is not going to overlap that much. He's going to be more defensive. You're not going to see Rice make them moves from the 6. So we've got Odegaard, and we know we'll probably get onto him. And like the forward line as well. It's just like I don't know. Like, I've been quite negative on Martinelli over a couple of years now because I love his work rate. I love how he tries. I love how he's now taking people on. But at the end of the day, he's not self-sustainable. He's not a player that takes players on and can shoot or do anything. Like, he's even a player that gets set up to shoot, and he's not really clinical enough for that, in my opinion. And then he's also a player that needs like a player in the box to cross to, which we just do not have at the moment.
he's like a game state player.
He was even bad in this game, to be fair. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, look at the front three for them and the front three for us. It's just night and day in terms of quality, the kind of player they are, the type of player, but also from a managerial point of view, it must be really easy. I don't know, maybe easy is a bit much, but it must be easier for a manager to essentially look at our front three and go, right, Bukayo Saka, double up on him. Trossard, we don't have to worry about, the ball over the top of the press. We haven't got to really worry about him holding up the ball because he really struggled in the early stages of the game. Martinelli, like you say, he's not the type of player that takes on a man and then gets a shot off. He's more of a game state player. So, yeah, in transition and when you're losing, that kind of, like against Real Madrid, we saw that's a perfect example for him. But meanwhile, the PSG front three, very fluid, ability to take people on, picking up different types of positions and pockets. It's, they don't have like one focal point. It's not like they played everything through Dembele or everything through Kvaratskhelia. They use a multitude of, different ways of attacking. And I think that's part of our problem. Like I saw, it was James, AFC James, and he essentially said, the big problem tonight has been Havertz. And I said, well, can we argue it's Mikel Merino? And I think that was a huge, huge problem. He's not, he's not the number 9 we need long term. But right now, I think Mikel Merino being taken out of that 9 position was a huge problem for us. That was a huge problem for us. Let's kind of go in to, might as well because it's here, just players in general. Is there anyone that actually stood out and played well?
I mean, Miles is just incredible, and he's just this guy. But in this game as well, like it's actually like perfect for him. It's a team that struggle against players that run at them, and that's like Miles is just a carry player over a pass player, even though he is developing his passing really well. But I mean, Miles is just incredible. Like left back, this guy's so solid. Like in midfield, I mean, he's like I remember like a couple of weeks ago. It was about 2 months ago now. I was talking on Twitter.
Nope.
That,
Sorry, Reece, you cut out again. God, what's going on with your connection tonight, mate?
The
Do you want to come out and come back in a minute, mate? See if it works, is it? I mean, I'll just pick up while Reece is away for a moment. So I think he is right. I mean, Miles Lewis-Skelly was incredible. There was one point where he kind of picked up the ball in the middle of the park, spun Hakimi, I believe, broke away, carried the ball up pitch, and then made like a reverse pass to Martinelli. It was disgusting. Just so good. He is so strong on the ball. Positionally, picks up the right positions. He's, for someone his age, it is unbelievable. Let alone just looking at the Champions League, we're at the final 4 teams, and he has been outstanding. So it's not even like we're just judging him on his age. We're judging him against all of his peers, and he is just fantastic, unbelievable. And I think Reece is right. The carrying was a big component to, the little success that we had. Declan Rice, his carrying was really, really important. And I think those two in particular for me were the kind of the big positives of the game. Sorry, Reece, I was just saying, I think I mentioned the Miles Lewis-Skelly, the carry that he did when he spun Hakimi and moved up pitch on the reverse pass. Just, unbelievably good. And then Declan Rice as well carrying. I think that was the one silver lining to the game, that it almost showed us like that's the model to break PSG. Carrying through those central areas, is we have to do that in the second leg.
Yeah, I mean, Miles is just incredible. I think he is arguably top 3 players of the season at this rate. Like a couple of weeks ago, I said to
God,
people on,
that's mental, isn't it?
yeah,
When
like
did he get his debut?
November, October. No, I think it's November. Like in the league. But yeah, I remember 2 months ago, I was speaking to people and I was like, I don't know if I put him in there just yet. I'll have to see. And I think he's just been incredible the last couple of weeks. I do think Rice has been our best player though this year by a mile in 2025.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he would have been in my top 3 before that. So that's another player that, I mean, it's hard to put a top 3. We've got lots of good players. But yeah, I mean, in the second leg, Miles and Rice are so important to this team. I mean, a lot of people are Party, Marino, Odegaard, Saka, but obviously there's a lot of importance there. But within, I think the key for against PSG, which we saw in the game, is that if when they do like go up to get you, you need to be able to go past them. As soon as they jump out of their defense or their midfield, if you are willing and able to go past them, even if it's not a carry, even if you get past them and then make a pass and someone else carries it, that is what you need. Rice is not a
Yeah.
player that is great in these little moments, and I think Party is obviously we'll talk about. But Party is going to be key for that.
Yeah, I was looking at the stats because, obviously I'm a geek. Declan Rice, I saw some people say, it wasn't his best performance, and I have to agree, it wasn't his best performance. But seeing Miles kind of alongside him, because within the first 10 minutes, I don't know if Miles even had a touch in a central zone, which is insane. That's what we need to do. And as soon as he started doing that, funny enough, it coincides with us getting back into the game. But Declan Rice, 69 touches, so the most of any player. Final third passes as well, 16. Most passes, Rice again, 55. He is just such a pivotal component to the way we play now. It's the first time, because I've always been like an advocate for him playing as a 6 on the whole, mainly because, we dominate possession, and I feel that against lesser teams, we don't really need him pressuring in high zones. This showed me that, okay, Arteta is right. He has been superb in that left 8 role. He gives us so much. I think I even tweeted you saying, I think we might have an argument about Thomas Partey here, mate. Do we give Thomas Partey another year or two?
Oh, I feel like that decision's already happening.
If you're in charge, though, do you?
I mean, I don't know, man.
Oh, that's big. That's big.
The thing is, like, I still don't want to. I'm not gonna be honest. I still don't want to, and there is still like, there's things I just can't shake, and maybe it's an agenda at this point, but I just don't want to in the team in some ways.
Wackle's agenda.
But these games are the games where he's like important in. I do think though that like, the argument's weird because next season will he be playing in these games? I don't think so. I think we'll just go for a Zubimendi over him. So it's like, well, we're going to pay him to sit on the bench, but like right now he is valuable. But it is also his own fault he didn't play in this game. Like people are like, what is he doing? It's his own fault he's not here because he's an idiot. So like it's always that sort of like it's that sort of give and take because it's like, well, no other players aren't getting yellow carded. Timber was like 4 games he had to not get a yellow and he didn't, and he's right back like having to go against one-on-one wingers. So I don't know, but
the manner of that yellow card was just idiotic.
Yeah,
as well.
If it was like if someone's on the break and he pulls someone down, you're like, but fair enough. But like, it's just the manner of it is the annoying part.
Yeah, I just feel that I said it last time. His physicality and the certain profile that he has, I think if we could replace that, fine. My problem is that just bringing in Zubimendi isn't enough. So you kind of have to keep him because I know the club. We know the club aren't going to do what's needed because really you should be getting rid of Partey and Jorginho, bringing in Zubimendi and someone else. I mean, I'm going to say like a Baleba, but that's never going to happen in a million years. And I'm aware of that. please don't hound me in the comments saying like, "Oh, you said we should get him as well." I know that's not going to happen, but someone in that mold would be perfect. But it's just not going to happen. I also will put a caveat. The reason Partey's importance was magnified in this game is because not only were we missing him, but say we were missing Havertz as well, which then meant that we couldn't play the same kind of game and model. So, for example, Raya hitting those long balls, you can't do that to Trossard. So you just instantly, by having Havertz there, that changes how we play, and that changes possibly the outcome of this game. I don't know. Not having like a Calafiori. So if Calafiori is available, does that mean we can play him at left back? Then we can play Miles as left 8 and actually use him in that manner. Is there, there's so many different things. So maybe we miss Partey more because we're missing all of these other players. That's essentially what I'm trying to say in a very long-winded way. But
I mean, yeah, I think I still think Partey's a lot to offer. I think that the skill I love the most about Partey is his turn, and like, I don't know, his ability to turn, considering his like the size of him, is so unique. Obviously, I think Baleba is someone that can also do that. I don't think that's them sort of comparisons are very fair. But in this game, just get it. Like I said, you just need against PSG, you need to bait players in and be able to take them on with confidence. If you bait them in and then pass it back, they'll just crush you. And Partey is someone that can do that. He's not someone that is going to run into space. And in this game, I think with Mourinho in midfield, he was playing that Rice role, but he's not a great tracker back. Like, he didn't run back well. He was in space in midfield, but you don't want Mourinho carrying the ball really from midfield. That's not his role. And obviously you just wanted more in them areas. Obviously we put him a bit centrally to get the like goal kicks and stuff, but it just didn't really work with Trossard, I felt like, in this game. And yeah, Partey just being there just shuffles everyone around to their better positions, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it does beg the question, like, will the performance just, regardless, be better because Partey's in the team? And
I think
the
it will.
shape and it just changes our dynamic. It just really does, which is really nice to be able to say that. But I hate being that guy that's like, oh, if we had Partey, like, regardless, we have got ourselves kind of into the situation because the squad building wasn't good enough in the last transfer window and the one before, and because we just didn't. I don't think Arteta reacted quickly enough. What do you think? What do you think the actual change was? Because there's this whole thing. I'm trying to I know Alex from the Cannon Pod and the Different Knock was like, I have no idea what it is. But what do you think the change was? That, was there like one single thing that just changed our fortunes?
I think I can't, like, it's hard to explain, but I think it's down to some of the aspects of pulling players towards us as well. I think we did some changes because at the start, I think it was very much like Rice was playing kind of that Partey role, but the problem is Rice doesn't turn with the ball. He isn't that player. I know it's the memes, but he isn't. So he is just going to pass the ball back to the fullbacks, and I think that was causing a lot of problems for us, especially because we just couldn't get the ball. And I think there was some big differences. Mourinho was coming a lot deeper in certain aspects, which changed it, allowed Rice to pull out and go into space a little bit more down the wide stretches. I also think, I don't know, it's just simple things, I feel like, in the day. And obviously people are talking about how our pressing changed with Odegaard, but I agree with some people that have said that's like a moment thing. And I think we did that just to make sure they didn't have like an extra runner in there. I don't think we were pressing in a 4-2-3-1 or whatever, like permanently, like some people thought we were after a certain point of time. It's weird. It's weird because I was like, I've only watched this game back like 2 or 3 times, not like a lot though, and I haven't done like loads of research on it. So like looking at details is quite hard.
Say, I've only watched it back 2 or 3 times.
But like maybe I like.
Bear in mind, everyone, we are recording this on Thursday, so within that amount of time, Reece has watched it a couple of times.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird example. I think most of it is just like we need to profile confidence and like carrying a lot more. And I think we did that. I think off the ball, it's more about knowing when to jump, when to go. And Timber needed them gaps. I think, especially on this right hand side, I just felt like really struggled early on. Thought Timber had to cover a lot of ground. Saka was kind of on an island. I don't know what Odegaard was doing half the time, but I do know what he was doing out of the possession because he was picking up the other midfielder. So it kind of just left a lot of situations where they're one-on-one, and like the issue is like, as much as we are great one-on-one defenders, when you play against great skillful players, it's going to cause issues. And I mean, it was sort of them problems. But I think, I mean, the midfield, I think for us was the real problem. Like there is problems with the centre backs pushing out. There is Kivior. I don't think had the best game of the world. I think Saliba was particularly amazing. But I think their job was more difficult because of the midfield for us, rather than it being on them.
Yeah, the pressure, it was just so on Arsenal, like this press. And you're right, we just ended up 1-on-1. It was just really bizarre. And I don't know if you can just attribute that to Partey being missing. Or I don't know if you can attribute that to Odegaard as well, because I know some people saying, he was just completely off. Shall we go into Odegaard? Just kill the elephant in the room. I know you usually say address the elephant in the room, but I feel like just killing it right now. Here we go. Right. 89 minutes. Which was too many. One key pass. Okay, we're going to start positive here. Okay, one key pass. That's the positivity over.
Well.
6 attempted dribbles, 1 success.
I mean, attempted
so what was it,
6 is a positive.
I think.
That's a positive. Attempted 6.
Yeah, all right. Okay, yeah, we'll go.
I give him that.
Well done. You tried. No accurate crosses. If he floats across from the half space one more time, I will be driving for 7 hours up there, and I will be offering him some crossing classes.
He's been doing it all season as well. This is not the first time.
It's so frustrating. When you're just thinking, right, just whip the ball in, just whip it in, because at least if someone just gets it on the head, they might be able to guide it in or cause some chaos, but it just slows everything down. And Donnarumma, how tall is he? Like 8'10" or something?
Yeah.
Just comes out, plucks the ball, just carries. It's just so frustrating. Ran over. Jules 1-2, which for Arteta, that's probably the one thing he'll pick out there. Possession lost 14 times. Total shots 0. The safe score given rating 6.3. We know that their rating system's obviously built off algorithms, so I'd be putting it lower than that. I was just so disappointed because the application isn't there. And I would be saying to him for that next game, because let's be honest, he will not be dropped. Maybe we should talk about that in a minute, but he will be in that game. And I think you essentially have to say, if you have the ball, make the easy pass, just recycle possession. Don't lose possession now, because he's becoming a risk. He's constantly losing possession. He's not putting Saka into good positions. He's not helping him out too much by, playing out of certain areas. I've never really looked at him and gone, there's this narrative about him hiding. I felt like on Tuesday? Oh my God, my mind's gone blank. I felt when I was watching the game, in particular moments, he was hiding. And I hate saying that about my captain. I hate it. I'm not saying strip him of the captaincy. I'm not saying sell him now or, tear up his contract, anything like that. But it's so disappointing. Just so disappointing.
This performance almost seems like the breaking point for Odegaard in so many ways. Like, we have spoke about Odegaard being pretty bad for the entire season. Most Arsenal creators, I would say, have spoken about it. It's been very much known. But obviously, people are talking about how The Athletic put an article out this week of talking about how Odegaard kind of wasn't there and Rice was having to pick up the pieces, which is the first time we've really seen a like a big mainstream audience actually talk about the Odegaard issues, because it just seems like everyone thinks he's great still. And then they look at his stats and they're like, well, what's going on? It's like he's been poor all season, pretty much, other than like a select period when he came back from Chelsea for the Chelsea game. In this game, it was like against Real Madrid, I said that he wasn't a liability, but he didn't play well. In this game, in many ways, he was a liability in everything he did. I think one of the reasons we struggled early on, he was coming a lot deeper, just did not have that physicality, was getting tackled. I think that might have been a bit of a change to make Marino do a lot of that dirty work, which kind of affected us a bit because then we couldn't lump the ball up further forward. We could with Trossard sometimes, but obviously it's not going to be great. And it just changes everything. And Odegaard out of possession, especially from a tactical perspective, in this game does help. He did track runners, he did change our system up, he did do things, and that's why I still think he'd be a vitally important component for the second leg. But on the ball, he is so poor. Considering this guy was bought for his on the ball like work, not his off the ball work. It is an absolute mind blowing to think he has gone from a level of one of the best midfielders, not only in the Premier League but in the world 2 years ago, to a player that is not good enough. We don't know where he lies in the team. He doesn't know where he is half the time. He is even like his crosses and everything he does around the final third is awful. It's never been brilliant, but he at least made it work, even when it's not been his favourable position. But he's not making it work anymore. I think it's costing Saka. I think he's not helping Saka at all. And Saka's performance, I mean, Saka still played well in this game, but the level I know Saka can reach, I think Yamal level, where he played against the other day, is he's not being able to show people that because of the restrictions against him, and Odegaard doesn't help. And I mean, what is he in this team? Is he the creative midfielder because he isn't creating? Is he like just supposed to be there to lead the team for the press? Because that's great and everything. But in this game, our press was pretty bad at the first 20 minutes. Obviously, it's not his fault, and there was some tactical concerns. But if we're still like bad in these certain aspects and parts of the game, what is he actually on the pitch for? Like, he is not doing enough right now to warrant being in the team. And I don't really care about the whole captain thing too much. And I understand why people would, because the captain is a big deal to a lot of people. To me, it's not that big of a deal. Like, we have so many leaders on the pitch, and just having an armband that's yellow doesn't change that in my eyes. But there is a certain level, if you do have more responsibility on you because you are the captain and you have been given that like courtesy to be the captain over anyone else. And he is just not performing. And I think, I mean, we've seen the links today to an attacking midfielder, and there has been links more and more. And I think I said this, I think Partey has re-signed because I'm starting to think that we are trying to think about maybe signing an attacking midfielder. It might not be an expensive one, but might just be someone. And I think that's something we've got to look at, because he can't. I'm willing to give him next season to see if this is an injury concern, to see if that is maybe a form and like a mental concern, and maybe next season he gets back up to at least a player that can shoot properly and cross the ball, because his technique looks off. He looks uncomfortable with the ball, and if next season we don't get to that level, then you have to think about selling him, I think. But I think I'd still give him time, but he shouldn't start every game for the future. I think that's abundantly clear.
Yeah, nah. I mean, for us, I feel that we're relatively level-headed and fair. I try not to fly off the handle too much, apart from when it's about his floated crosses. But just like looking at stats, so I've got some extra stats here. So there were, if you're looking here, one key pass. I'm trying to get it on paper here. So one key pass, that was for 0.01 XA. So even when you're looking at that, it's
I don't even know what that was.
Pass, it doesn't mean what I mean. Some people think there was one deep touch. That was it. 3 progressive carries, which is, it's good, but still not fantastic. But the most damning thing was the minus, so negative 0.05 goal probability added. So in actual fact, if you're not aware of that, I know you are, Reece, but you're a geek like me. Essentially, he was harming our attacking prowess. That's what he was doing. I think even David Raya, I'd have to double check this. I think David Raya was adding more to the attack than Martin Odegaard. He was just causing more problems than solutions the entire game. And for me, I know he's the captain, and I know sometimes you have to play players into form. It was far too late. 89 minutes. I don't care if you think Ethan Winery is too young, because we have another player on that pitch in Mars Lewis Skelly who shows that age doesn't really matter. You also, if you look, players like Desiree Doué, they then brought in Barcola. João Neves is quite a young player. They just sometimes you have to bite the bullet and just go with it. And I think Martin Odegaard, especially towards that last 25 minutes, that was like a big wake up call of the pressures are working right now. We're giving up chances. Just put Winery in, change something. I don't know, like anything. It was
I mean,
worrying.
I mean, I don't expected assist isn't like the best statistic in the world, but Odegaard's expected assist in this game was 0.08. Winery, who came on the 90th minute, was 0.04 and he made 3 passes. Like, honestly, it's not like anything. And even Rise was 0.04, but it's just so funny to me. He played a minute, made 3 passes, and had half of it. And like, it's just like, and like, as much as that is a very nitpicky stat, he is the, well, he is the creator in this team. Like,
He's the hub. He is the
yeah,
hub of
he
the
has
team.
to be the hub because he's not anything else. Like before, we were talking about how good he is at progressing the ball, but we don't even need him to do that anymore. We have Miles who has come in and actually been probably a solution more than anything in them areas, which is we've kind of fell into. And we don't need Odegaard to come deeper anymore, but he's better deeper. It's the problem with this team.
Yeah.
Maybe next season we just have a Zubimendi party right midfield. Maybe he goes
I mean,
full
I don't know how
conservative.
that looks, but right now, I take it. Do you know what I mean? Like we're talking about where do we play Odegaard next year and stuff. Right now, I just feel like I don't want him in the team, and it's horrible. It's not an agenda. Just genuinely, I want what's best for the club. So obviously, for him to return to form is a massive component to that. That'd be fantastic. But I'm watching games, and rather than him slowly progressing and increasing in his performances, I'm seeing regression and a decrease in total output and what he's bringing to the table. I think.
It's so
Could you imagine
concerning,
it? Like
isn't it?
genuine question. What would the fallout be if we dropped him for the next game?
Be insane. I just think the thing is, I think for the rest of this season, Odegaard, in my eyes, kind of should still play because he's not great and he is maybe a problem. But that the off the ball, at
Stop.
least.
Just there. Done. Should
There we
play
go.
because he's not great and he's serious.
But off the ball, he is like incredible. And I know that gets overspoken about, but it is very important. And like how we play, he is very vital to making us be able to transition our press quite easily throughout games. Like the reason why it was so, I know, flexible in this game, we got better, was because he is good off the ball and he does things that help. Winery is not at that level anywhere right now. And
Yeah.
Winery is a luxury player that if you need a goal, you bring on. I do agree he should be bringing on Winery earlier. Should definitely be a concern. And in the second leg going into this game, I want Odegaard to start. But if we're maybe 1-0 down or if we're struggling to score or create chances, we've got to consider bringing him off at half time and just bring Winery on and give him that moment, especially for a team like PSG who give us space. They will give us space.
Yeah.
And I think going into next year, I'm willing to give Odegaard time because, like, I do think next season is kind of make or break for him. I wouldn't say this season because it's like he was great the last season, great the season before. You have one bad season. It's not the be all and end all. But there's definitely got to be ways that Arteta and Arsenal in the summer don't have a off the ball system that relies heavily on Odegaard. We need to find ways. It's going to be hard, but maybe this is by different players that make it at least functional in ways that it can help. Because I mean, you're seeing it. Football is changing into a less control heavy sport and more of like a end-to-end basketball style. We're just going to have a better
Physical.
attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Inter Milan and Barcelona, like Barcelona's line, they just weren't trying to defend. They had slow defenders, and but they were confident, and they platform their forward players
Yeah.
because they're so great. And we have Saka. Okay, we don't have the others yet, but we can buy them this summer. And if we can platform these players, that is important. But we don't do that because we are conservative. We are so off the ball, so good. we're so worried about like, not having the ball sometimes that we just forget everything else. And I think when it comes to Odegaard, if his on the ball quality was okay and his off the ball quality was insane, he'd be worth staying in the team. Bit like how I kind of feel with Martinelli right now. Martinelli on the ball, I think he's been good recently. Okay, good. Off the ball, he's still excellent. So I would kind of keep like Martinelli deserves to be in there. At least he's given something. Odegaard is doing the excellent off the ball, but not on the ball right now. And it's just like we have Winery there. We might have to use him at this point.
Yeah, it's interesting you're saying, about him being not at the end of his Arsenal career, but maybe giving him one more season and then starting to review it then. I just looked at his contract. So his contract expires June 30th, 2028. So that's almost like the perfect time, because that's make or break time, isn't it? We look at 2 years out, start saying, do we think about renewing? Do we think about moving him on and getting a relatively good price for him? He is one of the highest earners at the club. He's on £240,000 a week. Oh, God. Could he share that around to us a little bit? Martin, if you're watching,
he was incredible.
Do you know what?
Though.
You've been fantastic, Martin. If we could just have £1,000 a week, right, we will give you the best press.
Yeah, which well, I mean, he was our player of the season last year, technically by award wise.
Has he been twice, I think now?
Yeah, I think maybe the season before he was definitely top 2, I think. I mean, that's crazy to think like this drop off. I mean, it reminds me of it. Reminds me, obviously, maybe not to the extent, it's a bit different, but it kind of gives me Lacazette vibes a little bit. Like Lacazette was because in his second season at the club, he got player of the season, and obviously like he left in his 4th or 5th year. But honestly, them last like 18 months at the club when he was there was like, it was so bad. It was just like, please leave. We were all waiting for his goal.
There's a lot of parallels in terms of like work ethic as well. Because I love Lacazette because he always like, pride himself, and you could tell he was always up for it, regardless. If performance wasn't good, at least he was like kind of down to fight. So yeah, I know what you mean. I think there's the other problem with Odegaard, generally like throughout the fan base, is that he comes across. I'm gonna go. Hey, it's like a British theme tonight. He's not a proper captain, like Declan Rice carries himself like a captain. The whole thing, we die without the ball. I can't imagine Odegaard saying that. And Odegaard comes across as quite lightweight. I mean, not luxury, because he does a lot of the hard yards, and that's, he's fantastic at that. But because he has this persona of, he's always flicking his hair, going to the crowd, when he's giving it like, yeah, come on. And I think sometimes it almost goes against him as well. So it'll be interesting to see how the fan base carry him, and if we support him in general, or if we're going to have more people kind of jumping on his back. But with performances like that, he's going to make it very easy for some people just to say, just get him out of the club. But regardless, we can't get rid of him this summer anyway. We just can't. Maybe the idea is to get someone slightly different profile, more of a natural 10, someone that's more incisive, willing to take risks and grow them into that player. Someone waiting to explode.
I mean, the more I think about it, I've been saying this so much the last couple of weeks, but I'm like, I really want Arsenal to buy an attacking midfielder. Like, doesn't need to be the best player in the world, doesn't need to be a Xavi Simons. I would love it to be, doesn't need to be. Just sign anyone. Like, I think we need at least an option, because I feel like going into next season, we have good options. If you think about Zuberman, you think about the left backs, you think about the midfield, we've got a lot of options coming in for different players. Partey, Zubermendi, very different. Miles, Calafiori, very different. We're looking at maybe Yoel Hato. That's been a thing. Very different player. Like, I understand that they offer different things. White Timber, it's the same. But I do think we are lacking that. We kind of just have Odegaard and Winery, who hasn't really played that much in that role anyway. And he's still like a teenager. Like, I know Miles has come through. Miles has come through and he's so great because of that physicality, which Ethan doesn't have at the moment. Doesn't mean Ethan can't be great. I think he can. But in these sort of Champions League semi-finals, I don't want to be playing Ethan too much if I could avoid it. But I would like to see him start on Saturday, preferably against Bournemouth. Like, I think these games should be played. So I do think going into next season, I mean, obviously El Canouse has been linked. I mean, it's a player that has been a buzzword for a few Arsenal people I spoke about for a while. He is like, obviously he's still quite raw. He's still a guy that he shoots a little bit as well from outside the box and don't always
Yeah.
go in. But he's a winger and a midfielder and he's left-footed, so he's different. He can give us another option, and he's actually attacking. He's actually a final third player, which is what we need. And he's cheap, like him, Cherky. These players are not that expensive. If they're there, you gotta get them.
And they are of that mold of that type of player we were talking about earlier. We were like an X factor, just something different about them. And I know it's not very Arteta, but maybe that's what we need.
Yeah, so
It's
I mean, sometimes you need to just throw everything at the wall. Like I feel like Arsenal, we have these situations where in these big cup games, especially it seems to happen in cup games, where we just can't throw anything at it. They're
Mhm.
defending well, we're 1-0 down. And we back in 22-23 and even 23-24 to an extent, we had that sort of inevitability we'd come back and we had players come on. And even Nelson contributed and Vieira contributed as well
Yeah.
in 23-24. But we don't have that. We got rid of all of them. We have Sterling, who he doesn't like and can't contribute. And we're
Who
just in a
ironically
situation.
played, in the last game.
Yeah, yeah.
Why could Ethan not have played instead of him? Why are we giving minutes to a player that we're investing time into a player that we're not going to see anything from? It to me that again, that's another bad choice recently. Um, quick question actually, while we're on that. So I put a tweet out saying, for me, it wasn't just like the performance of the players at the end of the game. One of the things I was most frustrated with was Arteta. I did also say the fans, which might not have gone down too well with some people. Where do you what frustrated you the most? Was it the decisions by Arteta? Let's say the tactics from Arteta, the lack of, I don't know, urgency, I guess, in terms of like making substitutes and changing things, the players themselves, and the atmosphere in general. Like, what for you? Which kind of let's do a little tier, 1 to 4. Where are you putting them?
I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's hard given the situation, and it's kind of I feel a lot of sympathy towards our team considering the injuries we have compared to PSG. But not only that,
Mm.
just I have a bit of sympathy for our players just for how we play. I just think we play in such a tough, very workforce system, which is great, and I get why you would always want players to work hard and do that job for you. But it gets to a certain level where they're not really getting the rewards. I feel like a lot of the time there'll be many times where we just it'll take like Martinez or Saka 50 yards to run back, and then run back, and Tim will just win the tackle. And it's like, I get it, we have to do that, but I feel bad for them that they have to, and then they have to run forward again.
That must be
And
demoralizing.
yeah, and then
Like,
to get no rewards because, like, at the end of the day, we're still not very clinical in them areas.
mhm.
I think Arteta got it maybe like not wrong, but I think he got Enrique did his research, I'd say, and kind of got the
Yeah,
upper hand at him at the start. But I think he got well in a much in terms grips of the game. I do think there needs to be more emphasis on carrying. There needs to be more emphasis
yeah.
on passing the ball to Saka and Martinelli. Like these fullbacks just go missing. And I said that in my video for preview. I said like we need to attack them spaces when Hakimi's going up. Nuno Mendes not too much as in this game, but
Quick
like Hakimi
switches,
did. Yeah,
quick
and we just
switches.
did it. We were just giving the ball to Trossard or even Rice, or whatever, no, Merino in the middle. We just didn't really have that incentive. And the only times we actually did use the wingers and come inside, we actually nearly scored. Nearly every chance we scored was coming from them wide areas, which we've just got to do that more. And I don't know how much like Arteta can really control of that within the moments of the game. I feel like I the thing is I don't want to put anything on the fans as well because it's like it's I always say this, but I always think it's so funny when footballers go up to the edge and they like going up to the crowd, and I'm just like, well, if you played better, not I know it's like such a flat-footed thing to say, such a surface level thing because it's not just play, but you can't just play better. It's a bigger thing than that. But maybe sometimes I think with Arsenal, our intensity that we play at is boring. It's dull. We don't have intensity. We don't even try to, and that's not necessarily on the players. That's also a manager thing. But that's just how we've been built this team up. And I
Yeah.
just think that does make the atmosphere dead. And the tifos, whatever. But like, I think like Yeah, I don't know. I just think that doesn't help.
Yeah, I will kind of clarify because it's so hard. You know, you put a tweet out, especially I put it out real quick because I was just seething. There's no other word for it. My issue was at the end of the game, people just leaving,
Yeah.
and this is a match essentially, a 180-minute match. That's the way we need to look at it. I'm sure that's the way the manager looks at it and the players look at it. It is not done in the first 90 minutes. Remontada. But, you know, genuinely, I've seen Arsenal come back and have, you know, battles with like Spurs and Newcastle. And, you know, we've had these games where it's really turned quickly. And I just think, you can't just give 5 minutes at the end of the game to get behind your team. You like really like what like I know what the transport can be like in London, and it can be horrendous. Like I live at the end of the earth in England, so when I do get to go to the games, it takes me forever to get home. Like it does. But I stay there because, like, for me, one, because I don't get to see enough games live, but two, because I feel like I owe it to the players almost. And I just think this is the biggest game we've had at the Emirates. People were saying how big the Real Madrid game was. This is bigger. It's in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Like, just stay for the 5 minutes and get behind the players. Vice versa, I will also state that you're completely right, mate, that the way the team plays, the fans are often a reflection of that. So if you have like a player like I don't know, David Ginola or something, you know, someone who just takes on a man, that can lift the crowd. If you score a goal, obviously that will lift the crowd. If you're getting big tackles in, like I see Gabriel, you know, Gabriel gets a lift and then the crowd gets a lift from that. Those things happen. There's a phrase of kill the crowd. PSG did that. 3 minutes in, killed it. That atmosphere disappeared. And from what I've been told, the atmosphere prior to the game was unbelievable there. People were saying it's absolutely amazing. Part of, I think, the crowd dying at the beginning was the minute silence. Nothing you can do about that. I think that it did, because, you know, it stops the crowd, stops that momentum and the build up. The other thing was the tifo. For me, I mean, we laugh about it, you know, it is silly, but when it ends up being something like you're expecting something big and then you look and you think, oh, really? And then it's falling down. I can imagine a lot of fans just going, oh, typical Arsenal. You know, we've had a week to sort this out. And it instantly, even subconsciously, must be a bit like, oh, you know, typical, like our board and KSE, and just couldn't even do that properly. And for me, I you know, it's always a mixture of things. It is a mixture of things. So my problem was more the end of the game, that last 5 minutes. Just get behind the team. Just come on. Right. I'm gonna go through the team. Let's go through the team. Might as well. Should we do ratings? It's a bit harsh.
I mean, we can do.
Well,
I didn't remember what
let's quickly just discuss them. But rather than just doing ratings, let's just discuss how we could maybe have changed things for them, or how we expect them to, you know, their role to be and the performance to be in the next game. Because I feel that might be more fair. Because let's be honest, a lot of these players are not going to get good ratings. David Raya. David Raya is an interesting one, actually. Go for it, mate. Like, what did you think?
I mean, I still feel like his passing's a bit. I mean, it's not the Raya I know. It was fine. It was better than it was against the last game we played against Palace, because that was awful in that game. But I mean, it still seems to. I mean, maybe I'll give him a little bit of sympathy because the system was a bit different. I think it wasn't as obvious where he should pass it as much as it would have been before. From a shot stopping perspective, I think he did well. I think he was pretty good in this game. I think he made some important saves. And he still catches a lot of crosses, which is really helpful. I think Raya had okay, his passing wasn't amazing, and I would want a bit better from him. But I mean, it's not Raya's fault we lost. I think Raya was fine. I think he had a
Could he
relatively
have saved
fine
the goal?
I guess, but still off the post. I don't know. It is a scuff
Yeah, I
shot.
just feel like
I don't know. It's such a weird one. Also, I don't know how Dembele's shot for his goal is like a 0.04 XG or whatever it was, like 0.08 or something. Like I
yeah,
get it. I think it's because they do it all based on loads of things like how he hit it and like and
location and how it's hit
yeah, but
and
like
yeah, keep it.
he's not that far away and it is like kind of open. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just have to beef the XG people like I usually do.
I
He
mean, yeah,
definitely maybe could have, but I wouldn't put it down to him to be honest.
yeah, three saves, all obviously from inside the box. 77% pass accuracy. Long balls, 18 of them. Only 8 were accurate. And I know you don't expect, 100% accuracy from a goalkeeper from long balls. I think part of it's to do with personnel as well. We didn't have that focal point up front, that reference. That makes his job a lot harder. I think he was all right, but I almost didn't notice he was there at times, which is really interesting because he's quite often, part of the build up and just I didn't pay any attention to David Raya. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But yeah, his passing definitely looked a little bit better, his distribution. Urian Timber. For me, the most bizarre performance I've seen from him. I think did you say he looked like he was an island, or did you say that about Saka?
Saka, but I still felt with Timber it was because they just kept pulling, they just kept running into the center and pulling everyone away, and I was just really causing Timber a lot of problems. I think tactically they really did get at Timber, and I
Yeah,
do feel a lot of sympathy because especially in the first 20 minutes where he was getting cooked or whatever people say about Creature. A lot of the time it was a 2-on-1, like he was by himself, like, and I was like, I feel kind of bad. But after that first 25 minutes, I think he was great. Like, I don't think he was that bad at all. Like, I think it's just kind of, I think his performance is getting a little bit blown out of proportion because it was his worst performance he's had in about 3 months. But I still think he was one of our better players, which
better
maybe says a
players.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he made adjustments quite quickly. Um, I don't know if there's many fullbacks that would make that many kind of adjustments, but yeah, three interceptions, 2 tackles. He was only actually dribbled past once. So although I think sometimes it looked like Kavicha was getting the better of him, he wasn't actually making much space. He was more making space for other runners rather than beating them 1-on-1. 2 long balls, 2 accurate. Pass accuracy was 80%, but I feel that outfield players, I'd love to see kind of like the average. I can't remember what it was. Let me have a look here. Have I got it here? I haven't. Yeah, I don't think our pass accuracy was fantastic, just in general. So not surprised with him. I do feel. Here's a question for you: would we have been better set up if, and I mentioned this on the last pod, playing Timber on the left, Ben White out on the right, and putting Miles in midfield and leaving Marina up as a 9? Hindsight is 2020, and I don't know how fit Ben White is, but would that have actually been a better way to set up in hindsight?
I think in one of these games, that wouldn't have been the worst option because I mean, I just hate Timber in left back, and I remember before he joined, everyone was always going, "Well, he's going to be the left back. Why is Calafiori signed to Timber's the left back?" And I was like, "Timber won't be the left back. He is a right back. He played left back, but I just can't see Arsenal using him there
Mm.
for the future." And we didn't really. And I think when he plays left back, I mean, it's hard to judge because nearly all the games he's played there, he's played alongside Party and right back, and we have looked awful. And that's not all on Timber, but he kind of just looks very uncomfortable on that left hand side. So I've not really liked it. But it's mostly through going into them forward areas. And I do think if in this game he has to defend Douay 1-on-1, that might be okay for him. So I do think that could have worked. I still don't know about Ben White's fitness. I still don't know about the fact that Yuri and Timber would probably have to play the full 90. I mean, I guess you could put Miles there and then move it around if you had to, which is still doesn't really seem like something we want to do. I guess I don't really like Miles I don't know if 6 is where he should be more. I think Obviously, if you had Rice in the 6 and him as the 8, I think that would be all right.
Yeah,
But
that's yeah, that's
but
what
I
I kind
still
of lead
think
into.
I think yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one because I think before going into the game, I thought Trossard was an okay choice because he played against PSG before and played relatively fine in some of our games recently. He played well against Ipswich.
Mm.
Um, so I thought he would be an okay option. But in this game, they just pressed us really well and limited us really getting to him on the floor, especially. So we just really struggled. Um, definitely could have. It definitely could have been a solution.
Centre backs, let's do them as a pair, Kivior and Saliba. What I have seen online, because I've tried to stay off, as I said, some people during the match were like slating Kivior, saying, "Oh, he's back to being like the bozo he is." I I think he was good. I don't think he was great. I think he is relatively good. Saliba was really good. He was like the only player really to make any clearances. I think he made. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think he made 4 clearances for Arsenal, whereas at PSG they had, I think it was 19 by 7 players in total. So like Saliba was, clearances aren't always good. Don't get me wrong, but he was always there, right place, right time. He has been, he's marshalled that back four really since Gabriel was left. He's really, really stepped up. For me, I think they were just, they did the jobs well. They weren't really at fault for the goal. It, it was just a run of the mill game, I guess.
Yeah, I think Kivior made some mistakes, and maybe because they didn't necessarily result into a massive chance or a goal, maybe I'm willing to not look at it as much. Um, but I don't think they had the cleanest game. I think there was a lot of nerves. Something we spoke about
Mm,
with Saliba before. He just seems very nervous in these games, and we thought he kind of like got a bit better against Real Madrid. He seemed, even though he did make that mistake against Real Madrid, and that was definitely a little bit of a nervous thing. Also, he didn't see him.
yeah.
He was overall quite good in them 2 legs. Maybe that's to do with the atmosphere. Maybe like that does make it. He without that sort of atmosphere there, he gets a bit more nervous because he still looked a bit off it. And I do think I don't think Timber was nervous because I just think Timber kind of got like screwed over a little bit with how the systems were. But out of all the defenders, it definitely felt like Miles was the one that really wasn't scared a lot at the start, at least. I mean, when we grew into the game, it got a little bit easier. It's like the same thing with Kivior. He has shaky parts at the start, and then you don't really see him as much later on in the game. I mean, Saliba made that incredible block later in the game as well,
Yeah. Oh,
um,
that was great.
which was amazing. And I think they grew into it. It's just them nervy early moments. But to me, it's like an average. Like it's not like a great game, not bad game, just like a mid game. I think for both of
Yeah.
them, really.
Yeah. Do you think he suffers? Like, have you had the Yerkes? Is it Yerkes Dodson's law? Like, so I'm going to use a funny term, arousal. But essentially, it's where athletes in particular become over aroused or under aroused. So, get heightened situations. And there's like this. So it's an inverted U. So essentially, as you get more and more kind of, you want to get to the right amount of anxiety. So you're kind of getting up for the game. And at some point, you get too up for it. And then your performance dips and goes over that. I've probably explained that really, really badly. Sorry, mate. But I feel like he is a player that I'm starting to look at and go, is he almost getting like too worked up about it? Because he seems like a very calm individual. When you look at him just in general, he's always the one. I remember when he first came to the club and he just, just wandered around like it was another day, pre-season, just there, like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. He doesn't really seem ever affected by the occasion, apart from when it's a really big occasion. And I wonder if that's something, they've got sports psychologists that they'll be working with. But I feel like he might be someone that almost gets himself too hyped up and then he's making these like silly judgments. We know, at the top level, when elite sports, it's that 1% that can make a difference. And especially when you're a centre back or a goalkeeper, you make a little misjudgment by like a millimetre or two, and that's the difference between you making a header or a clearance, whatever, and an attacker getting in. Or for a goalkeeper, especially like penalties and just diving slightly at the wrong time or just missing it by like a small inch. I do wonder if there's something there. I'm not saying he can't ever do it. He's a very young man. We forget that he's incredible. But I do wonder if maybe he's someone that they need to just go, well, just take it down a notch, chill. It's all right.
Yeah, it's so weird that you mentioned that because that actually like brought back some flashbacks to me when I was doing sports science in college.
Sorry, mate.
And when I remember one thing that we learned was that like when sports athletes do like when they're in a game, there's the build up to it, and it's called like there's this like scale for it, and it's called like the arousal levels you have within the
Yeah.
game, and you have to get to a point where you're at the highest capability of focus and like performance
I'll
wise,
see if I can
but
bring it
also
up a minute.
not having that bit where you crash. There's always that, like they say that if you get too invested in the game and you're getting too angry, then you can make rash decisions or get red carded or and sometimes the occasion becomes too big. And I kind of think, not even to a point about Saliba, this has actually been a point that they mentioned on the BBC review of this game. And they said, oh, I didn't agree with it, but I understand why they said it. They spoke about, is Arteta actually too invested within these games and it's hurting the team? Now, I don't think that really matters. Like, I don't think Arteta has that much impact on the individual players like that. Maybe he does, but I wouldn't believe it. The players are professionals at the end of the day. But I do think there's a certain level with the fact that, like, this game is a big game. It's one of the biggest games of Arsenal's like history in a very long time, and we should treat it like it. But it does feel like every single game Arsenal play, it's like we're one game off of it. Just what we're one game away from everything just crumbling all the time, entire season, even last year and the year before. And I just think sometimes that I don't know, like it's a thing that I don't actually think is like that big, but it's definitely a thing to talk about and be like, is this a concern? And I think with certain players, there's certain players that thrive in these sort of environments, and there's certain players I think our experience at these Champions League levels is not there. Saliba doesn't have it, Kivio doesn't have it. I mean, maybe he doesn't make the biggest deal. Miles doesn't have it. He's incredible, but I think it's that mentality. It's a different mentality. Miles is a player that believes he's the best in the world, believes he can do these things, and is never scared. He's like fearless at his age.
Sometimes youth gets you past that as well. Like I had it. I can remember I was entering a competition, and it's something you've drilled and drilled and drilled. You've done it a million times. I hadn't competed for a long, long time at anything. I'd had a back injury, so I hadn't done anything. And as soon as I got in the arena, it was really weird. Nerves hit me, and you get that anticipatory rise. Your heart rate goes up, and I think sometimes like Miles probably doesn't get that almost because he's not aware of the magnitude of the scale of the performance that he needs to have or of the match itself. Maybe like William Saliba is someone that is more aware of that and does take that on board. So he's taking all this and he's thinking, my partner's not there as well. So Gabrielle's not there. So now I have to take that responsibility and roll on. So he's going up that part towards that best performance part of the curve. And then he's going over into high stress and anxiety. And that's why his performance is coming back down. It's a really interesting thing to think about. And I just thought, I'd just bring that up quickly. God, we are just such nerds, aren't we? Just look at me, like quickly going on and finding a diagram of an inverted U.
I mean, I don't remember much from sports science, but that's one of the only things I do.
We'll get rid of that quick. Bad memories. Studying. Miles Skelly, I mean, just real quick, his carrying is essential in that next leg. His ability to pick up the ball and the space essentially. We need to do that from the off for me. He just shows such maturity and conviction on the ball. His ability to turn. He might be one of the only players in the squad, bar Partey, who can quickly turn the man and then drive up the pitch. He is, he's unbelievable. Anything to add with Miles?
I mean, he is just. I mean, I just think in many ways he is like one of the fundamental pieces of our build-up now and our team. And it's like
Isn't that insane?
there is no way that like this they obviously had ideas of who could get into the team, but I just refuse to believe that they sat there at the start of the season and went, he's going to impact our
You
build-up
know what
weight
we're going
for
to
the
do
rest of
halfway
the
through the
season.
season?
Yeah, yeah. We just signed 40 mil left back, but it's fine because we've got this teenager. So if he gets injured, he's going to come in and be Arsenal's best player in the last 4 months of the season as he's just started his prep football debut. Like, it is incredible. We've like genuinely fell into him, I feel like, and he's just. I mean, with all the injuries and stuff, like we have like actually got a generational player in our defense, and it's incredible because Winery, everyone knows about Winery, everyone knew about. He
Yeah.
debuted at 15, but Miles, like. I mean, yeah. I mean, I remember when I watched him in that preseason game, and I was just like, okay. I was like, that's insane. I just, yeah, he's good. He's a starter for next season. He has to be. The more,
Yeah.
it's
Starter
kind
for
of,
the country as well.
yeah,
It
should
looks
be.
to me like Tuchel's going, yeah, he's going to be a key component, and like he is how we're going to build up. He's going to be part of that. There's no one else in the country really who can do what he does. You know, there's other good left backs. I won't lie, but not at what he does and what he brings to the table. So to me, that international break that showed that Tuchel's going. Actually, I'm pinning my hopes on an 18-year-old who's not even a left back, and he's gonna just madness. I think we've covered Martin Odegaard.
It's not his best
He just
performance.
needs to just turn up, not lose the ball,
I mean,
and take some photos at the end of the game of us, winning.
I think one of the problems with Odegaard is that when Marino wasn't playing well, the thing is with Marino, even if his like technique is off, if his timings are off, he is big, so he can just kind of like he can at least be impactful in that way, and Odegaard can't be. I just think if Odegaard wants to do something for this team, just use your great off the ball play and just be a player that ticks things along. That's all he needs to be. Just give the ball to Saka and maybe take a player away from him. And if that doesn't, nothing happens, it's fine. Like I think, just become a facilitator more than the outlet. I think
Yeah,
now.
yeah, completely agree. Declan Rice, similar to Mars Skelly, carry the ball, getting back into left A position. Just and again, he's another one. He's such a brute. Like he is your atypical captain as well. It's such an easy out for him, but he just is. He's been a fantastic addition. He really
He
has.
almost plays better in bigger games. I actually think
Yeah.
Rice's worst games are when we play like the mid-table to lower mid-table sides at home. I think that's his worst game.
I completely agree with you. He rises to the occasion. He almost needs that though. He almost needs a midfield that has, good talent to then showcase his skill. Because he's got such a particular set of skills. But he does. He's just an interesting profile. He's brilliant addition. Brilliant addition. Mikel Marino, for me, he has to go as a 9 next week. Is it next week? 2 weeks.
Yep. Next week. Wednesday.
Yeah, it is now, isn't it? He has to be as number 9. He at times I felt like slowed down the play. He kind of went back to then. Like when we first got him in through the door after his injury, and he seemed to be kind of getting up to pace. I felt like he almost was lost at times as well, asked to do a job that doesn't really come natural to him. I did feel for him at times. I felt like he just didn't look like he understood the game plan at the beginning of the game. Anything else for him?
It's kind of crazy to think we bought him because at the start of the season, I was making videos being like, this is the perfect midfield. This is why we've bought Marino, these three to play in midfield together. And it's just not worked out. I think Marino just looks lost sometimes in midfield. And obviously, like that role's a bit different. It is in this game specifically than what Rice is doing sometimes. It's just weird the fact that we bought a left centre mid and he's not been that like he's been okay in left centre mid. Like he's been good there recently in other games. But he wasn't like he struggles in some of these games, but he's just an elite, like he's elite up front at the moment. Like, I mean, we just fell into another striker.
Literally elite as well.
Yeah, he's been elite.
Mad. Bukayo Saka, I just felt like he was isolated. It was crying out for Ben White to be on that pitch earlier. And I understand that Arteta is quite pragmatic, and he would probably be looking and going, I'm looking at their left-hand side with Mendes and Kvaratskhelia. Is that a good idea? You know, bringing Timber off? But Ben White, let's be honest, he's not a mug. Defensively, sometimes he can struggle one-on-one, but he does bring a lot on the overlap and crossing. Maybe that's something for the second leg. Maybe I'm looking at it.
Bring Ben White on for Odegaard, and then we have Timber White and Saka.
That is a statement there. Could you imagine? Do you know what? I'd be up for seeing that for a little bit.
That'd be quite fun. I think it would work more if Timber was in the midfield and then he was at right back.
Or could you bring Saka into midfield and play Ben White over on?
This is actually something I forgot to mention before, but some Arsenal fans absolutely hate the idea of Saka coming centrally, like as in a permanent role rather than just like a thing he does. But he is so good from everywhere. Yeah. Why would you want him further away from? Why would you want him in the corner of the pitch? I'd want him, if I want my best player who's good at anywhere, who can create, attack, score, do anything from anywhere, I want them closer to the goal if possible. And as much as they are great in build-up and stuff, so we need him deeper, just put him in central areas. This is something that I like about the Nwaneri coming in. Nwaneri will happily go out to that wide stretch and be that winger, and Saka can come inside. Odegaard ain't going to do that. And I think that is vitally important that we just get Saka into them areas where he can come inside, because I mean, their centre-backs, I think, in this game, Pacho was going missing. He was going so far out. He was pressing up, not getting back in time, and we just never really looked like exploiting that. And it's because I think our wingers are so far out that sometimes them quick passes we should do to them are quite hard to do. So just get him closer to the goal if that's the case. Martinelli can be more wider if you want to be. But, I mean, Saka needs to be on the ball more, I think. And in this game, I actually think, he kind of got a bit screwed over, but I still felt he was like our best attacker. Like he was still really he's still effective. He's still decent. He's still like a pretty solid game. I'd say like a 7 or 8 out of 10 for Saka, but it's just unfortunate, really. Everything else.
Yeah, I mean, he has an incredible ability of creating in wide areas. Like he's probably in world football the best next to the touchline, creating a chance. He's unbelievable at it. But at the same time, it's like it's a byproduct of him being forced to play that wide all the time. I do wonder how he would have progressed and, just essentially how he would have improved if he was playing inside. But it's like Salah. You don't ask him to stand on the touchline and do the defensive work that Saka has to do. They try to get him as close to goal at all times. Maybe that's what we need to do. But maybe that's a long-term thing. Be interesting. Imagine that if that's the idea next year. You have a midfield of Declan Rice, Zubimendi, and then Saka plays as a 10.
I mean, wouldn't hate it. And we get
Semenyo comes out on the right, or Nico Williams plays out on the right that we've talked about.
Get like an Mbuemo in then, because then we can actually have room for him, and then we get it all.
There is options though. It does beg the question, doesn't it? Maybe there is a bigger picture that we're just not privy to.
Well, this is the thing with our summer that is like weird. Is that we are quite a flexible team. We have players that can play in multiple positions. There is players that we could buy even in different positions. Like we all know we need a striker, we need a winger, we need the DM. But we could buy an attacking midfielder. We could buy a centre back. We could buy another left back, or could buy another right winger. Like I do think that will really impact how we play, like where we buy. And it'd be interesting to see what the team do. Let's buy someone though. Hopefully.
Yeah. Leo Trossard. He was for me, a player who had two completely different games. At one point, I was just get him off the pitch. He was dreadful at certain points, like holding up play, poor choices. He wasn't stretching the pitch. He wasn't even coming deep to receive the ball. Physically, we know he's not imposing. He's really good at wriggling out of tight spaces. He wasn't doing that. I was just like, what are you bringing to the table? And then later on in the second half, he had a period where he was actually really good. He was doing the things that we needed him to do and getting us out of trouble quite a bit. Um, for me, he can't play in the he can't play in the return fixture. Um, yeah, he's
So,
again a victim of the situation we find ourselves in the squad.
yeah, I mean, I think Trossard's a weird player, actually. I think out of anyone, when you speak to them about this game, I think he's probably the player that has the most discourse of like, did he play well? Did he play not well? I think when you first watch the game and the emotions are there, like, it's very frustrating because there's a few times where he picks the ball up from deeper and he just takes too long. He's turning and
Yeah.
then he just loses it. And you're like, we could have been through or could have been doing something else. Like, he just has to be better from them. But on the rewatch, like when you watch it back multiple times and you don't have them emotions, you realize that, like, other than them moments, there was a few moments where he did some really good play. He got in. I mean, he has that great shot, and Donnarumma does a brilliant save.
Mm.
Like, I think that is a great save. I don't think that shot's bad at all. And I think, like, obviously he isn't the preferred choice, and yes, he should not play in the second leg, and Burrito is the better option. But I do think Trossard, like, he wasn't the worst player on the pitch by any means. He weren't the best game he's had, but in my eyes, it's kind of like a typical Trossard performance where he does some good stuff, some bad stuff, and then you kind of meet in the middle. That's kind of where I see him.
Yeah, I agree. All right, final one. Go for it, Martinelli.
I mean, I don't know. It's so hard because I love Martinelli. I genuinely do like him because he works hard, and I always will appreciate that. Same with Odegaard. I also have been wary to criticize certain things because I still think that is very important, and I do still see him as a leader on the pitch. But Martinelli, like, I mean, the shot where he, like, it should probably score is going to be the thing that everyone's talking about. And I've seen a lot of people say, like, what can he do here? He does what he should do. And I get that. I get that. But we've seen so many times in them positions that Martinelli gets into them, like, inside runs, which we haven't actually seen too much in a while. But we saw it against Porto last year, saw it against Liverpool a few years ago. It's been a thing he's done a lot. And all the time, it just seems to be the only finish Martinelli has in his locker is the I'm going to curl it off the floor into the corner. And the thing is, he is not Thierry Henry. He is not, like, undeniable at it. He's mid at it. Like, every time he does it, in my opinion, it's not close enough to the corner, other than a few times, like Palace last year when he came on and scored twice, they were pretty good. I just find that if you watch like Martinez's last like 80 shots, I reckon like 60 of them are the same shot of him not scoring. And I'm thinking like that the reason why you play in the certain way that you do and the way we build up is so you get them moments. And he's just in the same shot.
Yeah.
And he should be able to go near, like the best players in the world. I mean, obviously Martinelli isn't that. Are able to change their shots like Saka is, go inside, outside even from them angles, like it's something that Mbappe is so good at. When he gets into them angles, he would always go near post to trick the keeper, and then they go mark near post to go out post all the time. And I get that's harder said. It's harder to do than being said, but he just needs to I don't know. He shoots way too early, and they're just always a bad effort. It's
Yeah, I
just
was gonna say
frustrating.
so doing MMA, one of the things you kind of look for is people telegraphing certain things. I just find sometimes he gets in those positions, and against PSG, he telegraphed. He might as well have pointed and shouted to Donnarumma and said, "It's going to go over there." Like it was so obvious what he's trying to do, and like you said, I completely agree. Doing like almost like a reverse shot, like you have a reverse pass, and going to the near post would make so much more sense. I mean, it's a 0.83 xg for those who want to know. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, I don't want to. I'm not going to blame the final score on him. It's not. It's not his responsibility solely to get us, a goal, and the whole team needs to be, culpable for that. And we know with Martinelli, you need to give him more than, one or two chances because he did have two big chances missed. He needs frequency. He is not one of the best finishers in the world. Like you say, he's not a Thierry Henry, so he's not going to finish it like that. So it's not just on him. However, he does need to start taking some ownership and thinking, I'm responsible for these chances being missed. And surely at some stage they need to. I'm sure they will be doing some, shot practice with him and shot location. And I just feel like he just has one shot
One shot.
choice. And it's
Yeah.
always from the same kind of location as well.
And when you
It's
do analysis on like players, you always speak about like shot selection being a very key point. I remember Marmoush this was his biggest negative point before he joined City in January, was that pretty much all his shots were kind of like the same shot we're talking about with Martinelli, and he was getting so close to the goal because of the Bundesliga and the lack of defending. And I have to mention every podcast that he's on.
every episode. There's the bingo, the Wackles bingo.
Gotta mention the Bundesliga. But I just think we play Martinelli like he has one chance a game, and we've played him like this as a forward that has one chance a game for like 2 and 3 years now.
Yep.
And he is just missing chances consistently. And it's hard to blame him. And I get why, like, some people might be like, well, it's not his fault because most teams get more than one chance. And I understand that. But he just hasn't learned. He does the same things. He honestly plays a bit of like a headless chicken in these areas. And even just like we've selected that shot and spoke about it, his performance in this game wasn't very good. Like, he was one of the worst players on our team. I felt like I felt like he just couldn't be effective. Like, everything he's good for, getting in that pace and running in behind. The one time he did it, he missed, and then he didn't really do it that much. Very frustrating game. We have to play him there because we just need that. We need that pace. We just do not have that pace. And I almost think that his attributes that he have are better for the team than the actual player with himself. I know it's hard to explain.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. We need to expose, for me, we need to expose Hakimi coming up in those, like, more advanced areas, start doing some quick switches, get Martinelli kind of cheating centrally. We also need to make sure that Mendes isn't in control of the build-up. I think that was a huge mistake. He was, for a lot of the game, he was dominating that. Ironically, Marquinhos has got an 8 rating from SofaScore here, but I don't agree with that. But I think he, ironically, is the player that we need to kind of start jumping on and giving, allowing them to give him the ball more and start leading their build-up. Just on Martinelli, I looked on FB Ref. Shots total. So in the last 365 days against attacking midfielders and wingers, he is 39th percentile. So he's not even in, the top half of players for taking shots. So he's not a shot-heavy player. And like you say, he's not a clinical player either, is he? So
it's kind of crazy because I swear, like, in 22-23, he was getting loads of shots. He was like the main outlet from shots within the box. And then now it just seems like that has completely been devoid of that. And I genuinely think it's one of the moments I talk about it a lot in other sports, and when you do analysis of other things.
Sorry to cut you. 22-23, you're right. He was the 86th percentile.
Yeah,
so
that doesn't surprise me at all.
Per 90. That's in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's when you like analyze like other sports, you always talk about sometimes an overperformance from a player or a team in a tournament or a certain competition may actually make you a bit deluded of what that player's potential is and what they can actually bring to the team in the future. And I do think that he overperformed in that 22-23 season to an incredible level that it has caused us to maybe they think he's better than he actually is. And I get there's a lot of people that still like him. I still like him. I think he's great. He brings a lot off the ball. But there is certain moments in certain games, especially in the Champions League, when we need a moment. We need that X factor. We need someone we can trust to at least take someone on and have a shot. Might not score, but at least you're doing something. And I know, like, maybe Williams is still raw, not necessarily going to be that guy, but I expect him maybe to at least get more shots away at least. And that's the problem. Martinelli, in my opinion, the reason he's not getting many shots away is because he doesn't facilitate himself. All the shots he gets away are people setting him up rather than him doing it himself. Like Saka basically creates everything himself for himself, other than maybe sometimes Odegaard does. And I know it's easy to say that Saka's like one of the best wingers in the world, but I don't know. Martinelli's just not great at the moment.
Yeah. Shots total. So Nico Williams is 68th percentile. I mean, it's still not fantastic. But looking at Antoine Semenyo, he's in the 92nd percentile
Interesting.
for shots total. So averaging 3.54 shots per 90. And that's, I said it earlier, not to toot my own horn, but I did say it. I feel like our squad is more and more crying out for someone like him, just willing to take a shot. And to kind of pinch your phrase of being, self-sufficient, he is. He's someone that will pick up the ball, he'll make a chance, or make a half chance for himself.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, I'm looking at every single winger, like Barcola, Desir Duar, and Creature Kvaratskhelia all have over 3 or over shots per 90. As much as there is obviously ways that they play a lot more like forward and they play, crap teams every week. So that definitely helps.
Yeah.
But I do think this is off topic, but I do want to mention it. But like Rodrigo now saying this week that he would be willing to leave Real Madrid because he thinks that he's been thrown out there. It's been a player that I always think is someone that if you put him in the right, he will get shots away. He's only at like left. On the left where he's actually good, and not on the right because he's to facilitate for unfortunately better players. I think he really is like a player that Arsenal should be looking at if he's available.
It's so interesting, isn't it? This summer, I have a feeling it might be something left field. But regardless,
a Havertz.
Yeah. I'm excited about it though. Regardless, I know there's a lot of work to do, and I'll probably get to the end of the summer and be really disappointed and go, we probably need 6 or 7 incomings, and we've got another keeper on loan, and his name is Matt Ryan, and we've ended up with, I don't know.
But it's weird because like we did that transfer video, and obviously things are going to develop. That's how things work. But I mean, since then, Napan looks like he's going to Villa. We didn't bother with that. It looked like the Garcia thing is up in the air because now United want him, Villa want him. Real Madrid have been linked.
Yeah, and there's rumours that Berta's kind of gone. Yeah, we're leaving that. That's not.
And I also think that like if teams are willing to pay the money and they are going to be making a starter, I don't really know why he'd choose us over them in a way. Like he should be playing football,
and he should be, yeah.
So it's interesting, and I do think with the party rejoining, like re-signing, I think that we're gonna be doing weird stuff. I hope we are doing good, like we're looking at good players. I mean, the news about El Khanous, it might not be that reliable, but I've heard that the source is actually not that bad. They are like good, some days good, some days bad. So it's not like completely like null and void.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes
and even
maybe.
And even Had de Virzel did say that there is people within the club that do like him. I think that is at least some sort of encouragement that I'm not saying we should go and buy players, but I'd rather us just look at these players than not. And I think that's important.
100%. Yeah.
I also think that like we should talk about the second leg because as much as we have gone into some of the tactics, Dembele is still a big question mark for it because he came off injured in this game, and it does look like that he isn't going to play this weekend for PSG, and they're trying to keep it all tight lip if he's going to play or not. They expect him and they want him to play, and they still have that expectation he could do. But apparently it is more serious than him saying like, "Oh, I'm fine" at the end of the game, like he did. Apparently there is more going on, and he's not going to be in the squad this weekend, supposedly. So there's something that definitely changes a lot if they have to play. They'd probably play Barcola as a front three and just rotate their wingers, I would imagine.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, so they're saying he's not in pain anymore. It looks like a strain, and it might be a grade 1. So, yeah, requires a rest period of 10 to 15 days estimated.
Yeah. So, I mean, if he's like not fully, like I still think I look at Dembele and I just think like I don't get a sense of inevitability with him still. I just think you can get at him. I think he's incredible, and I think the system works perfectly for him. I am a big this season Dembele has actually been incredible, and I've always been a big Dembele really hater. Like I've been a massive hater of Dembele since he like existed because I just think like even from his Dortmund days, I always just like, well, this guy has got this potential, but he's never living up to it. He's never fit. He's not good enough on a 1v1. I felt like that a lot when he played for France as well. But he actually has been really good this year, and I think this works. And I think without them, I think without him, their build up really suffers. I do think they're more predictable in many ways. Like I don't think Barcola or Lee Kang-in can do that role as well.
Mm.
So I mean I am like, it's weird to say being 1-0 down from a home leg, but I almost think that the away game kind of suits us more. I don't know, something about Arsenal, and I know we haven't got the best Champions League away record, or even European away record, even with Arteta, really. But this season, I've seen a lot of improvements for us away. I think in Real Madrid, we were very good. I felt like in PSV away, we were incredible. And I think that as much as it is a different situation, we have to come back. We haven't been in this situation yet, really. I think that, well, we are due a comeback. You know, we had loads last year, and we've had none this year. So let's hope.
Oh, please, God.
We just got to take our chances, man. Just got to take our chances.
Yeah, we do. And part of me is a little worried about Timber. I'm sure he'll be back. I'm sure he'll be fit for the game.
He comes off injured every game.
Yeah, he does. And that's why I'm kind of like, I'm sure he'll be fine. I think maybe this weekend will be a good idea to rest him. Don't play him. Play Ben White for a bit. Play whoever. I don't really care. Just make sure that we haven't got any more injuries before this next game.
Yeah, but, this is the, like, we even if like they still want to come second, and we have got Newcastle and Liverpool. If we draw one of them games, if we draw to Newcastle, lose to Liverpool, Newcastle is still going to be behind us, and then we've got Southampton. So it's like, I mean, I don't really care either if we come third or second either. Like this game on Saturday, just don't care about. It's the last one. If we go out to PSG, then you can care about them again for the last 3 games. So like, and have fun.
Yeah. Switches the focus completely, doesn't it? I mean, I obviously want to get second, but it's not the. If you get third and then win the Champions League, I don't think anyone's going to worry about it. And in 5 years' time, no one's going to look back. I mean, third and getting to the semi-finals, regardless. I think for, say, future transfers, because I think sometimes that's part of the discussion. People go, well, how does the project look? If you go, well, we might have regressed and moved 1 place down, but if you look at the amount of injuries we had, we still made it to the semi-finals of the Champions League. There's only 3 other clubs in world football this year that can say that. So it is what it is. Do we win it?
I mean, it's so funny because when we played against Fulham, I was like, oh, we're gonna draw against Fulham. I can't be asked. And then this game, I'm like, yeah, I think we're gonna win. I don't know how much you'll win by. I feel like they'll score, but then no, I don't know if they will. I'll say 2-0 because it's easy. Because I can't be asked to say 1-0 and then it goes to pens. We win 4-3. Like I know a lot of people say kind of like a cop out, but like I just 2-0. Marino double.
I actually think it's going to be 2-1. And it's going to be pens.
No.
I genuinely do.
No, Saka versus Donnarumma. Not Saka versus Donnarumma again.
And David Raya again. I mean, he's had a couple of saves. He's not as bad as Ramsdale.
David Raya, like this perception of him from he is like a bit annoying from pens, but Ramsdale was way worse than that. And also, Raya has made some incredible penalty saves this season. And like that one against Atalanta is the best save I've seen all season. And no one even remembers it. And everyone's talking about how bad he is from him. But I was like, he saved loads of pens. He saved one against West Ham last year as well. I mean, we lost 2-0, but he saved one. Like he saved he saved way more than Ramsdale did for us. I'm like, well, I'm like. I mean, the problem is I don't rate Donnarumma. I know he had a good game in this game, and like it's so annoying because every time I hate and don't rate him, he always turns up against teams that I like Arsenal and England. Like, can you just like prove me wrong by beating like anyone else?
Dembele. Do you know what I mean? Like, physically, he is perfect for a keeper. He's come up while he was in Italy, and you're going, this real young lad. He could be, the next Buffon. And then you just go, yeah, I don't know. Maybe moving to PSG isn't the
It's funny because he's like so weird. He's like actually so different to Buffon. Like I feel like Buffon.
What was that dive, by the way?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
I mean, I know keepers are allowed to dive, but that's not what they mean. Like
but
that corner.
yeah, I mean, that is something that's been really pissing me off because like that is how teams Arsenal haven't scored that much from set pieces in Europe, and that's why because teams just jump on the floor as soon as we
Yeah.
put a good ball in. I watched the Barca and Inter game, and they were putting good balls in, and Barca went jumping on the floor, and Inter were just scoring all the time, and they couldn't do anything. I was like, if any team did that against us, we'd do the same, but they don't. They just jump on the floor. I mean, it's also
It
because
was
Donnarumma can't like he can punch the ball, but that guy is so scared of any cross or anything coming in. He
yeah.
is still terrified. He has been his entire career. He's never learned how to
Isn't that
claim crosses.
crazy?
I just like even the fact I want Arsenal to win. I don't want PSG to win with Donnarumma as their goalie because don't think he's. I just don't think he's good, and I don't want him to win and people to think, oh, he is actually because he has been great in certain games. But I remember when he won like best keeper of the year because of that Euro performance when he was good for 7 games, and I was like, he's awful for PSG overall. Like not great. And like I don't know. And there's so many players that I'm just like, could they let them win it next year? Like let them win it next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Neves, Vitinha. I've actually spoke to Vitinha, one of the only footballers I've ever spoke to. We did when I went to uni. He was at Wolves, and we did an interview with. It was supposed to be with the American guy at Wolves at the time called like Otsawaisi, I think. But he pulled out of it, so they got us Vitinha, who was on loan. And we all asked Vitinha a question. I can't remember what I asked Vitinha now. And it's crazy to think he's now like playing
Yeah.
like one of the best teams in Europe. So I do have an affinity with Vitinha a little bit. But next year you can win it, mate. Not this year.
I mean, he had a pretty good game. I mean, did he get man of the
Yeah,
match
yeah.
as well?
I mean,
Which is so interesting because if you
João
look,
Neves. Surely they forgot.
yeah, like this here, Marquinhos getting 8. And then Vitinha's getting 6.8, and it's so funny, isn't it? Like a lot of the time I don't look at and I advise everyone to do it. Don't look at things like sofa score and who scored and for their ratings. Like the stats themselves, I think, are far better. And also sometimes the choice of man of the match in some of these, I just don't know how.
Well, I think
how
it's
they
down
come
to like
to
the
conclusions.
commentator, isn't it? It's probably down to the commentators, and we don't have I think everyone's been pretty critical of the TNT triple commentator team with Rio and the other guy. I just that's awful. I hate Rio's basically just a fan, but I remember this is like not a point, but I didn't want to mention it because it made me laugh. But I watched the Inter and Barca game, and the whole game he was talking about how much he loved Yamal, and then I remember when Dumfries, Mkhitaryan scored and got given offside. And then after it, he was like, I'll tell you what, actually, Dumfries had a good game. I'm like, Dumfries has been the best player on the pitch. He nearly has 4 goal contributions for fullback. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's still like it's a surprise. I was like, he's been running the show. I was
It's
like, I
so
feel
funny, isn't it?
he does the same with Miles, though. Like, Miles in this game for us was amazing, but they fixate on him and just forget about anyone else that plays in
Everyone
the
else, yeah.
team. Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. So like, Rooney was driving me nuts at certain points. It's like you can tell he's from a rival club. Like it's fine, but this is like a Champions League semi-final. Either go along the route of getting like an Arsenal, an ex-Arsenal pundit to come in, because Rooney's not doing analysis. You could literally get any ex-Arsenal player. It's fine. We're not going to worry. And then bearing in mind, there's like a few. You could have even got like a Nicholas Anelka or
yeah.
was it Lissana Diarra that played for both teams? You know, someone who's played for both clubs, or do it that way, or just someone completely neutral, but someone who's an obvious rival. I just felt like, oh, really? Do we always have to have a Liverpool or Man United
It's
ex-player
so
on?
weird. Well, it's like I remember that I used to have this criticism of, and they still do it now. Every time England play, they get Roy Keane there. And I remember when England played Scotland and they had Roy Keane, and I remember they asked him, "Who do you want to win?" He went, "I don't care." It's like, yeah, he's Irish. Why would he get care?
Yeah.
Why is he here? Just get English and Scottish people. There's so many. Like I don't understand.
Do you know what? So obviously next week we'll do the pod on the final verdict of the semi-final, but we should do one, and we'll write down some things that really irritate the both of us, and we'll do kind of a ranking for each other's like nitpicks. We'll write some of these down. That'd be quite a good episode, mate.
We should do it like because everyone does the thing as well, where they're like the least like was it like least like profile player you like, and it's just like people like the most random.
Yeah.
People come up with the most random ones though, like it's a profile like left wingers who are sitting. I don't know, it's so random, like left wingers who can't dribble or something like that. It's just like that's not a profile. They're just
that's not a profile.
They just can't do it. They're just awful. Like I don't know. Like it's so weird. Centre backs that can't defend deep. It's like what? I don't know. It's normal.
Do you know
things,
what?
right?
One of my favourite profiles. I'll tell you. It's a number 10 who can't shoot, can't assist, but is really good at leading the press. That's my favourite.
Oh, very specific. I was like,
It's very specific. I really like it if they're the Scandinavian as well. So we will be back next week, obviously. Hopefully it's going to be a big one. We've given our predictions. So what did you go with? 2-0?
Yep. Marino,
and I've gone
double.
2-1. So we'll see. Oh, God, I've got to actually say if we win on pens. Yeah, come on. I've got to be positive. It's so mental. I was so positive before that last game, and I have just gone off a cliff. But we got party back. Well, Marino.
I had a feeling. On the day, I had a feeling things weren't going to go away. I don't know. I just had this feeling, but I don't feel that anymore. So it's fine. We're going to win.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
In that case, we're fine. We're fine. Yeah. Yeah, we'll be back. As always, subscribe to FOKLZ YT on X.
Yep.
It'll appear anyway. And subscribe to Forward on Footy on X. Subscribe to FOKLZ on YouTube and hit the bell below and the subscribe button for Forward on Football. We're here every week and I will be doing some more content soon. As soon as, see, I like the sunshine. I live near the beach, so I'll be on the beach, mate. Some of us like the nice weather. So as soon as this nice weather is gone, I will be pumping out some more content. So we will see you soon. Cheers now. And take care.